Have you heard of this app called Are You Being Followed? I've always been afraid of being attacked on the street at night. Despite years of working in a bar and coming home late around midnight, this fear had never left me. The pay was lousy and the boss forbade employees to park their cars in the parking lot reserved for customers. So every night...
What? Are you kidding me?
Honestly.
We can't even get to work.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And
Probably a man.
So every night I had to walk alone for several minutes to my car parked a little further away. One day, as I was talking to one of my friends, she told me about this app. Don't you know this app? It's called Are You Being Followed, or AYBF for short. Basically, the app detects the waves of nearby cell phones, and if the algorithm notices that a signal is following you, the app sends you a notification, she explained.
That's pretty good.
Some say it also detects ghosts and supernatural creatures, and it gives off particular waves, but I think that's bullshit to attract views on TikTok, she added. I couldn't quite figure out how it worked, but she assured me that the algorithm was never wrong, and that it already allowed her once to be alerted early enough to be safe from a strange guy one night. I downloaded it, figuring it couldn't hurt. One evening, as I was walking down the street, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. It was the app that had sent me a notification, and on the screen it simply appeared the message, "You are being followed." I slowed down and looked around. The street was deserted. The wind sounding in my ears. Perplexed, I continued walking, the sound of my solitary footsteps echoing around me. A minute later, I received another notification. "You are being followed." With no one behind me, I wondered if it was a bug or if this app was literally a scam. Boo! I jumped and shouted, and right in front of me was my colleague, Ian, wallowing in laughter. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Here, you forgot...
Fuck's Ian.
Oh, no, you can fucking get in the drain. Get in the drain. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Here, you forgot your tips. And he handed me a few bills. Next time you do that, I'll empty my pepper spray in your face. Safe in my car, I finally managed to laugh it off and figured that at least I had proof that the app worked. The app never triggered again after that. Until tonight.
Oh my God.
I'd just finished a long evening and I was exhausted. All I wanted to do was go home and go to bed. As I was walking alone in the cold night with just enough strength to look at the tips of my feet without falling asleep while walking, my mobile vibrated and I picked it up thinking someone had sent me a text message. "You are being followed."
Oh God.
The appearance of the message caught me off guard and woke me up all at once. I looked around. There was no one and nothing around at this late hour, and the temperature was negative. I thought back to the only time it had gone off and Ian's joke. He knew perfectly well by now that I didn't find it funny, and I had made it clear that I hoped he wouldn't do it again or he would get his ass kicked. I stood there, looking back, looking for someone who obviously didn't exist. Still suspicious, I resumed my walk, keeping my phone in my hand. After a minute, it vibrated again. "You are being followed." I looked around again, but there was nothing. I started to panic. I was alone in the middle of the night and I was beginning to think something was wrong. A paper cup was pushed by the wind and the noise startled me. "Is anyone there?" Obviously no one answered. "If there's anyone, I'm warning you, I'm armed," I lied, trying to be as convincing as possible. When nothing happened, I started to turn around to resume my walk. And at the last moment, out the corner of my eye, even as I turned my head, I swore I saw something moving in the shadows at the corner of an alley. It took me a while to process what I'd seen. At first, I thought it had been a cat. No, cats don't have white eyes. I walked quickly. "You are being followed." Behind me there was absolute silence. "You are being followed." Was it the sound of bare feet on the sidewalk I just heard? "You are being followed." I clutched my pepper spray can as I took the last few steps to my car while looking around, like a mad woman attacked by imaginary birds. I closed the car door and I locked the doors. Finally, I managed to exhale the air I'd been holding in my lungs.
Nice.
And I started the engine. Once home, I took a shower and got ready for bed. It had been a strange night. The more I thought about it, the more I wondered why the application had triggered so many times. Wasn't it possible there'd been a malfunction and I just imagined what I thought I was hearing and seeing because of the stress? After a while, I came to the conclusion that the app was bugged and that my overactive imagination combined with my natural fear of being attacked had done the rest. I put my mobile in my pocket and made several trips to the kitchen to throw away the remains of my dinner. My mobile vibrated. "You are being followed." My breathing stopped. I stood there for several seconds, staring at my screen. I raised my head slowly and looked around. I inspected every nook and cranny accessible to my view without making a move. The light in my bedroom was still off. Apart from that, I couldn't see any place where an intruder might be. I made my way discreetly towards my bedroom. Stop stressing, you said it yourself, this app doesn't work. I continued walking slowly and put my hand on the light switch, just to the left of the door. I pressed it. I took a few steps inside, but without a doubt, no intruder, ghost or monster had entered my room. As I returned to the living room, reassured, my gaze was drawn to the window and the night outside. And there, I saw a pale face.
Oh, vile!
Glued to the glass, staring back at me with the two whitest eyes I've ever seen in my life. After a second spent trying to understand what I was seeing, I screamed in fear. The police immediately dispatched a patrol car after my panic call.
After a scream? Oh.
Very
good.
The two officers inspected the area around the house without finding anyone who resembled the vague description I'd given them, even though they seemed worried. I'd obviously avoided mentioning the fact that what I had seen had white eyes. After a while, they had to leave and told me to call back if I ever saw someone at my window again. I closed all my shutters and spent the night awake, a knife resting on the living room table.
Absolutely.
When day broke, I finally got the courage to leave my house. I looked around it and saw something the police hadn't seen, or hadn't wanted to tell me. Just below the window, where I'd seen this thing, there were dozens and dozens of bare footprints going from left to right towards all the other windows. You know how you start to do the most random things when you're bored out of your mind?
Yeah.
A year ago, boredom found me trying to access my old Yahoo email and somehow getting in. I was hit with a wave of nostalgia upon seeing the updates and notifications of old games like Neopets, Maple Story and Club Penguin. As I scrolled down, I noticed that there was a bunch of emails in the spam inbox. Curious, I clicked on it and discovered that they were sent by my brother Jack 19 years ago when he went to the Arctic for a research job. Date, 4th of July, 2004. Hey Squirt, surprise, surprise, it's your big bro here. I hope you're reading this on the email I made you and give me a reply. I bet you don't know how to though. Anyway, might get a kick out of this years later, so just be in my diary for a while, won't you? How have you been? I know it's only a few days since I left, but I miss you guys. The Arctic is freezing and the people are cold too, pun intended. Like, I met this burly dude called Kafka, who totally ignored me when I made a joke about his name. You know Kafka's my favourite author, right? On the bright side, there's a seal colony close to the base. Blubbery as they are, they're cute as heck. I wonder if they'll let me bring one back as a souvenir. Peace. The best big bro ever,
They
Jack.
definitely won't let you bring one back and get knobhead.
Date, 9th of July 2004. Yo! 5 days in the job, baby. You, mum and dad doing okay? I wasn't getting much work at first, but the guys have entrusted me with a lot more stuff to do, mostly lab work, but that's fine. Work is better than nothing at all. The Arctic is majestic and all, but there's barely anything to do outside of work. I'm pretty sure I walked 10 laps around the research base at one point because I was so bored. The internet's bad too, and only the email software works. The people here are literal zombies. It's sunny the whole day, but they act like the joy's been sucked out of them. Maybe the cold's gotten to their heads. Anyway, I'm sure that'll change when I make the biggest Arctic breakthrough. They'll be cheering in no time. Your brother's a genius after all. Genius Jack. Date, 14th of July 2004. Hey bro, how's the summer holidays? Did you go anywhere fun? I'm finally allowed to go on outside expeditions, catching seals and tagging them mostly. That's fun. There's something fucking... Got a sense of this or I'll be in trouble with mum. There's something fucking weird though. Some dude came to the base and the people are all happy now for some reason. They call him Reverend. He dresses like a priest.
It's a cult.
He dresses like a priest even though it's cold as heck. He seems like a nice dude, but it's weird that he showed out of nowhere. I asked around about who he was and they just told me he was a former researcher who found the truth. As for what the truth is, I got zero clue. Guess I'll play detective for a while. Catch you later, alligator. Sherlock Jack. Date, 16th of July 2004. Dear little bro, how are you? Got any new crushes? I got a crush, literally. A chubby seal bit me and my arm was crushed. Just kidding, I got a wound, but it's all bandaged up now. One of the seals we were tagging wasn't fully sedated, so I got hurt. I'm healing up now in my room. By the way, the Reverend held a prayer session when my arm was bit. I didn't understand because it was in a language I've never heard before, or maybe I was just doped up on drugs, but all the researchers were crying. I was kind of creeped out for some reason. Anyway, stay safe. Jack. Date, 19th of July 2004. Hey kiddo, you alright? I'm typing this with one hand. My arm's not doing too well. The colour's all off and it hurts. I'm worried it might have to get cut off or something. Kafka's been nursing me, but he keeps chanting something under his breath. The Reverend comes by and they whisper to each other. I keep hearing a word that sounds like or something. I don't know the language and I don't know what it means. I asked Kafka what it meant. The one under the ice was all he said before leaving the room. Weird, right? Anyway, your bro's strong. One arm or two arms. I'm going to wrestle you to the ground when I'm back. Love you, Jack. Date, 21st of July 2004. No more. Cold. Good night. The email dating 21st of July 2004 was the last one. Jack came back home in August, safe and sound. What I read never left my mind until I saw Jack again at a family gathering today. He was wearing a t-shirt, arms exposed, not a hint of a scar on either of them. I had to know what happened. Is your arm all right? I asked as we drank beer together on the porch. He slowly turned his head towards me, lips stretching into a tight smile. At that moment, everything about his face was just wrong to me. Exactly that. Why wouldn't it be? I looked into his eyes. Deep, vacant voids of nothing. This was not my brother. I forced a chuckle. It's really sunny today. Aren't you worried about sunburn? You used to get that a lot. He's expressionless and silent for a moment, eyes boring into mine as if probing for something. I didn't realise that I was holding my breath until his features snapped back into a cold smile. I've missed you, little brother. The end.
Catharsis.
Catharsis.